afternoon. I'm here with my friend Michael, who I'm not even sure how long I've known you now, Michael. It's been a year, year and a half, over a year and a half, I'd say. So we're working on a book, and maybe we'll have more to say than that in a couple of months. But for now, kind of inspired by our mutual friend Chris, who created a service called Watch Me Work. Um, I just love this idea of having folks watch us work, and um, Michael is a experienced, established stand-up comedian. I am not, but I
Wouldn't
like a
say
good joke.
established, but amateur, actively working on it for 4 years now. But yeah.
Nice. Well, don't sell yourself short, bud. And so, but I need some bits too because I we have a music show that there's MC spots. Maybe one day I'm gonna stretch myself out and actually try to do a stand-up set. So basically, I'm kind of like wanting to learn from the process, and it's just fun collaborating and talking with Michael. So just for anyone that's chiming in, and in the future we might do this again, is we're just going to workshop material that either Mike's brought a couple things today that we're going to talk through and just see where it goes. I'm not bringing anything because I haven't really thought about, but that's more how I work, is I'm more in the moment, I guess. So with that, unless there's anything you want to say, Michael, or introduce yourself, maybe just let's start.
No, other than just like this is our we established weekly time just to kind of throw around ideas. We both have interests in comedy or comedic related things. So like this isn't our standard book call necessarily, but just a time where we can give each other feedback and throw crazy ideas at each other where we both feel kind of comfortable that the other person won't think we're completely crazy. And I don't know, it's fun.
Yep, exactly. We can also just test out things and test like how offensive is it and what are the edges. But
Yeah.
you can see that there's an earnest attempt to try not to be. Like that's not the
Right.
goal.
So warning, yeah, if you're offended, we're sorry. This is like almost like an open mic environment where we're just throwing things out there. This isn't necessarily something we would say to anyone else. We're not trying to be offensive or edgy. Just trying to come up with ideas and feel comfortable in that space and just kind of let it flow.
Absolutely. Okay, so you have something to workshop?
All right. Well, I'll start off with a bad dad joke. So I am a dad. I have bad dad jokes. I have some decent. I don't think there are any good dad jokes, but sometimes I just have to get them. I have to like write them to like get it out of me, so I don't force it on my wife. The dad joke. So I was at a coffee shop today. So here's my bad dad joke. So I was discriminated against at my local coffee shop, and I didn't like it. I went to go use the restroom and I couldn't. It was an all gender restroom, and I only identify as one.
I get that. Yeah, okay.
Not all gender. See, I told you it was bad. All right, I had to get that out of the way. So
No, that's good because maybe like that's very interesting. Because the first thing I think of is that we all want to be special or unique, and in a way, the all gender thing is an attempt to say everyone's special, but it actually just makes no one special if you think about it.
and there
So
has to be somebody that thinks like, but I'm not all of them. So is that for me? Like, can I still use that? I'm not all. I don't want to take somebody else's restroom. So
yeah. Well, I already feel guilty. We'll just talk like we do, but I feel guilty using the handicap toilet, but I generally know that it's going to be the cleaner one. So I basically use it to be like, I hope no one comes. You'll just try to like, be quick. But like honestly, it's the cleaner one I find, and
extra roomy and yeah,
yeah,
it's nice.
yeah. There's a handle there if you need to really like dig
It's
down
true.
and pinch one off. So like
Right?
this just
And if you ever need to change, like in a restroom, there's
yeah.
not the regular stalls aren't made for changing, but that one is. That's got plenty of room to change.
Yeah, yeah. There's a little hook to hang your. I usually
Ooh,
walk around with a
the hook
backpack,
in the handle. Yeah.
right? So I usually hang my backpack up.
And the
Um,
seat's more elevated too, isn't it? Isn't the bowl more elevated?
yeah, so it's kind of more regal. You're seeing like elevated
Your
position.
throne, sir.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting actually. But yeah, the all gender thing. I mean, it's true. I actually feel that one thing I don't know if it's in your area, but a lot of the more modern restaurants here It's just individual little rooms, like a little bathroom, a little sink, a little mirror, like it's all contained. Seems
Okay.
like a really good little model. It's kind of like going to the bathroom on an airplane, right? Where um, you just have everything at your disposal, and it's just your space to do what you need to do. So at that point, it's just a bathroom. Actually, I was at one recently where it was a bunch of those, but then a
Okay.
shared sink, and like it was really nice,
Oh.
really kind of regal. And men and women were just using a common, well, people were using a common washroom, and it was just
Okay.
like when you need to go um, rid yourself of your toxins. That's the part we don't want to see, but we're okay with come and wash hands together. Like, if anything, it was quite nice, really. Other than when someone opens the door, you hope they didn't let one off that just right. It's still got that sort of privacy aspect where, yeah. What an interesting conversation to start with, actually.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Aren't you glad you tuned in? If anybody
Yeah,
has.
we went right for the shitty jokes.
There you go. Dun, dun, dun. All right. And so then I have a little. I worked maybe like I don't know 5 to 10 minutes on this,
Okay.
based on a true story, and then I just have like a little riff. All right. All right. So here's where I'm at so far. All right. So my youngest son's tooth recently came out. I didn't knock it out. Mother Nature did. And how come this only happens with our teeth? You know, I'm not armless. Those were just my baby limbs. Or maybe I'm not bald. I just lost my baby hair, and the real hair is going to grow in.
Mm-hmm.
So his tooth came out in school, and then they gave him a cute little box to keep it in. The school can't afford colored pencils, but they have a full inventory of the world's smallest treasure chests. I have a picture of a rainbow with 7 shades of gray hung on my fridge, but at least my kid has coffins for his incisors.
Really
If
good.
it seems if it seems like I'm angry, it's because I am, because I screwed up. I forgot about the tooth fairy. My son is 7, and as soon as I woke him up for school next morning, he says, "Let's see what I got." He immediately starts to, hold on. I forgot about something here.
Well, it's interesting. For a second there, I forgot that you were doing a longer bit, and so I was like, "Oh, this is where to jump in." So apologies for cutting you off. I didn't realize, but now I see the flow of it. I really like that. I also want to know why the school has little tooth boxes.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, Tooth Fairy came the next night. Is there a public chat? So I just realized. So both of them are home, and I shouldn't finish the joke.
oh, okay.
But that's
Oh, right, right.
yeah.
Because you let
I'm
on about the tooth fairy.
I'm gonna spoil something. So Tooth
Mm,
Fairy came the next night.
okay, that's cool. Um, you want to workshop something else?
Yeah, let me see. Well, even with that, so that's the start of it. And I do like the ending, but I'll have to cover that. Yeah, maybe next week. Um, I do have another premise that I don't have anything worked out on yet.
Okay.
So I saw a statistic, which was 1 in 5 kids is bullied. And what's wrong with this generation? What about the other 4 kids? Like, why aren't they being picked on? Like, back in my day, there wasn't just one special kid that was getting picked on. It was everybody. I don't understand.
Yeah, that seems very low. 1 in 5 kids are bullied.
Right. That was a statistic. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah, I think 1 in 5 kids have reported bullying is what. Like,
You better not tell you. It's just 1 in 5. Nope, he's fine. It's not 2. Jeremy over there, he's fine. He's
I
not
think
being
it's safe to
bullied at
say
all.
everybody has been bullied. Like, even if you're just bullied
Yeah.
by your bank or bullied by your someone else's lawyer, I think yeah, that is remarkably low for reality. But Interesting. Sorry, I just killed the thunder on that joke because I'm just being
No,
like,
there wasn't
the
even a
math is
it wasn't
wrong.
even a joke. It's just the premise. It's not a
Mhm.
joke yet. Like that's what I'm working on. Something we could workshop, but I don't have the joke yet there.
Well, bullying's an interesting thing to workshop. I'm just trying to think like it's definitely funny if the bully gets it in the end, I guess. Although often people bully because they were bullied. So then, is it really good that they're getting bullied, or that that they get their karmic hit when really it just came from a place of insecurity or whatever beforehand? But that's interesting.
Were you bullied? I was.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, even later in life too, just by yeah, by adults that come in as like, we're friends, but then they talk me into taking on um, their services to help with things, particularly contractors. Definitely had a lot of bad luck with friends who they were friends, and then when business got intermixed and it was in the contracting world, like building, getting work done, a place where a lot of paperwork doesn't get done properly, and that makes for really sticky situations when you're like, okay, we were had very clear conversations of what this was going to cost. Now it costs 4 times as much, and they leverage the friend card, and it's just not okay. So yeah, I'd say that even recently, you can definitely get bullied by people that claim to care about you, and they don't. They care about where their next expensive line item is coming from. So
Yeah. And so all right, so with the other premise, was there any thoughts you had on that? Like did you like where it was headed? The other bit that I was working on.
the bit that we're not going to talk about because there's
Well,
little ears that might hear it.
I think you're fine. I'm loud. I don't think you can be heard.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they were going to watch the stream and we're.
No, no, they're currently right down there, and I don't hear anything else loud enough to drown me out. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about me.
Yeah, no, sorry. Well, and I guess, am I in headphones or am I coming on a loudspeaker though? Because I don't.
Speaker here, but it's not. It's not. That's still not loud enough. I don't
Okay,
think.
because I could go with Pig Latin and just say like, does the te airy fe uh, exist? Yay. That's the premise for the oak day. Um, I'm still amazed that the school is. Yeah, why do they have budget for that, but they don't have budget for music or budget for
Well,
healthy foods?
and I mean, they're probably like they're. It's me just I don't know, making fun of. I mean, they're probably like 3 cents a piece. I mean, but I don't know if you guys have them or if you've seen what I'm talking about. But these little tiny colorful things that they can put. I think it's common here. That's why I worked it into that. But yeah, it's just still interesting to me that they have those at the school.
Yeah, but they don't cost 3 cents. Administratively, they probably cost a ton of money because someone has to order them, someone has to check stock of them, someone
That's
has to figure out where they get them. They're probably custom branded. They're all this exercise to keep a lie alive, like to deceive children. So, and schools are probably not supposed to deceive children, right? So,
that
so
no, that's what schools are made for is to deceive.
well, yeah,
You could be anything you want to be.
yeah, yeah. That's so
There's
funny.
a lot there.
Well, it made me think of a school in Mississauga when I was growing up. I think it was called West Credit. No, that mean no, but it was a beautiful, brand new school, and it was like really well made. But it was like the way it was described to me, which I think is completely wrong now in retrospect, was that's where the kids that weren't scholastic go. So it would
Okay.
be a high school where you'd learn a trade. So you go to school and you would learn the basics of math, English, languages, but half the day you would be like learning a trade.
Doing something useful, right?
Something useful and something that they could take with them. Like once you learn how to do hair, you could do it for a couple of years and be like, okay, I've situated. Now I can do my friend's hair as a side hustle, like actual useful skills.
Right.
But I remember growing up near there, that school it was frowned upon if you went there, right?
Uh-huh.
You weren't smart enough. And meanwhile, their parents and those kids were the smart motherfuckers. Really, they're the ones that actually, learned a trade, learned how to do business, learned how to conduct themselves. It's crazy that was the mindset then, and I'm sure it still can be in some cases, right?
Oh, yeah, it's
So
good marketing. I mean, the same's true with community college. I didn't go to community college at first until I dropped out of a big university because of the stigma surrounding it. Everybody made fun of it, but there were more useful programs and lessons and traits there than at the school you're paying, 40 grand a year for, which I ended up doing eventually, and I'm still paying off.
yeah, crazy. It Thinking about that school, if you don't mind a side tangent.
Of course.
That school had a beautiful theater attached to it, like a community theater where they would do
Okay.
sort of light Broadway shows, cabarets, that kind of stuff. And so that was actually one of the first times that I performed in a couple of shows. I think the first one was Grease, and then Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar. But it was one of the first times that I realized I fully sabotaged my future music career as well.
Mm.
And so I was doing Fiddler on the Roof, and there's bits here for sure because I know I've told this story before, and I think it's funny, but there's probably a way to turn it into bits. So maybe you can help me.
Okay.
But so we were doing Fiddler on the Roof, and Fiddler on the Roof for a drummer is probably one of the least satisfying roles you'll play. Like really, it calls for triangle, the odd, crash cymbals banging together, timpani like kettle drums, and maybe like sound effects. So you're not playing like Grease was cool. You're playing rock and roll. Jesus Christ Superstar, rock and roll. Fiddle on the Roof, triangle. So Fiddle on the Roof is also highly accordion. And funny enough, I think it's right around the time I discovered Weird Al Yankovic too, right? Because this is like 1987, maybe.
Okay.
And so it's just an interesting intersection of my life too. But I can't remember what I was paid. I want to say I was probably paid $20 a night, and literally took a car full of drums to this thing to play triangle, and basically have to stay focused for 2 hours, right? Literally counting 250 bars and then going ding is not very satisfying for a drummer. But I remember very clearly that the accordionist showed up. He would show up 10 minutes before. He knew the
Okay.
show cold because he apparently like played accordion his whole life, and probably maybe there's lots of Fiddlers on the Roof shows going that he's like on
He,
his own.
he was a ringer, right?
He
They,
was the
they
ringer,
they're like, oh, we gotta call John. We're doing Fiddler on the Roof. Get your
right?
accordion.
He's the one kid willing to play accordion. So like
Dust
when you talk
that
about
thing off,
bullying, he was
buddy.
he was probably the kid that was bullied for a while, and then he's like, haha, I'll show you. He's on like an accordion world tour. But I'm sure he said he owned 5 tuxedos because he was so busy that he didn't have time to get it dry cleaned between shows. So he would just pull whatever like suit out to sit in the pit band, or not tuxedo, but you know what I mean, like a proper dinner jacket arrangement. So it's a lot of setup for really what actually happened, which is we played the show. My guess is it was probably 4 nights or something. That's usually how you did it. A bunch of rehearsals, and then you have like a little run. And I don't own timpani. So kettle drums are the great big giant things, right? The size of a dishwasher or larger. So I don't own a set. I don't drive around in a car with them. So I brought electronic drums, like a couple of rubber pads and a little brain that had sound effects, because I could emulate timpani. I could emulate these kettle drums. And so I'm sure the part called for like boom, 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 boom kind of thing. And in the moment, one night, I recall like I screwed up. And instead of timpani, I chose like UFO alien sound effects. So imagine a house, there's a key moment, there's been the triangle, there's people prancing around on rooftops up on the stage. I'm in the pit, it calls for this big timpani thing, and then instead you hear like woo, 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 like UFO sounds, right? I know without a doubt on reflection, and it was I think it came to me during a mushroom trip, but it was like I did that on purpose. I didn't want to continue doing that show, and I didn't know how to say no or set boundaries. Like I didn't want to carry all that much gear. I didn't want to play triangle. I wanted to be a drum set drummer, and I didn't want to get asked to future shows, but I didn't know how. Oh, the lights just went off. That's neat. And I didn't know how to say no. So I know that I accidentally chose UFO theme because, as quite predictable, the conductor didn't like it. He was not impressed. So, and I don't think I got asked to do future shows in the future. And I remember at the time being, I was already going to travel and do a music tour thing, so I don't think there was any consequences. But I now know that I subconsciously created a unique way to get out of being asked to do a show like that again.
That would do it.
Yeah.
That would
So
do it. Wait, so for Grease, were you in the play or you did the music?
so yeah, in all these cases, I was always the pit band
Okay,
for.
because I was in Grease too, so I was gonna compare
Oh, okay.
experiences.
No, I was just the drummer, and it was off. Like for Greece, it was side stage. So I think we came out and took a bow at the end, but really we were unseen musicians. For Fiddle on the Roof, we were down in the pit, so definitely not seen. Like we couldn't even see the show. I think there was like a TV screen show. No, there wasn't. Back then, they didn't even have good video cameras to show the pit band what's going on. Whereas these days, of course, you'd actually be able to see and sense. Back then, the conductor would be like, "Oh, he's about to open a door, use the door sound effect." Right? He had to actually like direct me to do it. This is a long time ago, technology wise. Anyways, what were you in Greece?
If you had to guess, what would your guess be?
I don't remember all the names. I know there was a Rizzo, and then there
I
was, but
believe
that
Rizzo
wasn't
was the lead female, opposite of Sandy, right? Sandy and Rizzo.
oh, that's right. She was the sarcastic. Why did I think that was a
Yeah,
dude?
Rizzo was like the bad girl, kind of the bad influence on Sandra D.
um, okay, well, were you John Travolta's character?
No, so I was Eugene. I was the nerd, and it was
Okay.
it. So it's a musical. It's our musical. Eugene the nerd. He has zero singing parts. He does not need to learn any of the music. I did the dance for the dance off, so I still know
Oh
how to
yeah.
do the hand jive.
Okay. You still know how to do it. Okay.
I still know the hand jive. And I got a couple lines a night, and I could improvise. I could change it each night. So people would like anticipate when it was my time. I could change the line. I could say about anything, and it almost always got a laugh. So yeah, it was amazing. It was the best, like, worst part that I could possibly get. I always ended up getting the character roles. Wizard of Oz, I didn't end up doing it because I did something else, but I got cast to be the gatekeeper, the crazy gatekeeper. Um,
Crazy
and then,
gatekeeper.
yeah, I was always like the weird character roles.
Hmm. Did you do any roles after Greece, or was that your first and swan song, or did it turn you off?
Uh, I think so. I got cast once as a bat boy for Damn Yankees at our large community theater, but then I had to have some weird toe surgery and wasn't able to do it. I was bummed about that. That would have been fun.
Oh, sorry, Michael. We've run out of time
No.
because class in the next room. I forgot. So
What's that?
we've run out of time because there's a class starting. We
Okay.
got started late today. But you know what? That was fun, dude. Sorry to
That
cut you
was
off during that story. But let's plan to do this next week. So now we got like the layout for it, and
okay.
I'll let you know if we get any feedback on whether people find this interesting. I think
All
I
right.
did.
Well, yeah, I
You know
enjoyed
what?
it.
We can just enjoy it too.
Yep, that's fine. All right. All
All
right.
right.